I was overwhelmed with happiness, and I would look at him in his bassinet at the hospital and just cry and think, oh my gosh, he's all ours. He's so cute and little and everything. And when we got home, the first few nights are unbearable, I think, for everyone, because you just think you'll put the baby in the crib and it'll sleep. But after hours and hours of screaming until 4 a.m., we realized that we needed, some help. So my mom came over. She's a great support, and she stayed for a week. She lives locally, so she stayed for a week, and she would cook and clean and do laundry while we slept, and helped us to just try and figure out what we were doing, and also for me to recover. And about 10 days after we were home, he stopped going to the bathroom on his own.
Until then, Kellie felt like a typical new mom. She was caring for John and for herself, and was exhausted like most new mothers. But John's illness was an unexpected outcome.
I was scared for him, for John, my son, because I didn't want him to be in any pain. I could tell by that point, after 10 days, you can tell the I'm hungry cry versus the I'm in pain cry. He would arch his back, scream, and red face, and inconsolable, just screaming for hours and hours and hours. And I was nervous that there was something wrong with him. So about 6-7 weeks into it, I realized that the baby blues were becoming more than that. I would take a shower and just cry in the shower for no reason. I would just start crying while I was making dinner. I was frustrated.
John's pediatrician was screening Kellie for postpartum depression at each appointment. Kellie's score kept going up.
I think besides the fear I had for John, I truly believe it was I was exhausted, emotionally and physically exhausted, and I was lonely. A lot of my friends, everybody works. I didn't know any mom groups around here. My husband was working, my sister-in-law was working. I would be stuck in here all day with a baby that cried. I couldn't even go to the mall and talk to someone who was also sitting there with a baby because I would have to leave. And I realized the questions would say, do you find yourself crying more often, or not enjoying the things you like to do? And I would answer, yes, or almost often, frequently. And then my mom sat me down one day. We were just sitting down. She says, do you think you have postpartum depression? I said, yes. I said, I just can't shake these feelings. I just couldn't get out of it.
Kellie's obstetrician advised her to speak to a therapist and suggested medication. Kellie ignored her suggestions, convinced she would get over it. Unfortunately, John got sicker and was hospitalized for a week, during which he had 2 surgeries. But things were not better when he returned home.
We left there on the next Thursday, feeling positive, and the whole car ride home he screamed. And the whole next day he screamed, and I thought he was better. And the whole weekend he screamed. And finally, by Sunday morning, I couldn't even look at him. I just was numb to the screaming. I wouldn't even look his way. I didn't want to hold him. I didn't want to cuddle him. I just said, I can't do this. We just spent 7 days at the hospital, and he had 2 surgeries and around-the-clock antibiotics, and he's still screaming. And it was the next week that I finally decided I needed help. I really had thought about just going away and never coming back. I really did. And sometimes on the Today Show or one of those shows, you see the runaway mom, and I think that could have been me. Honestly, it could have been me. I was ready to pack my bags and never see them again.
Kellie called the helpline and was given a list of therapists. She saw the therapist within 48 hours. She also decided to take her doctor's advice and went on medication. After about a month, Kellie started to feel better. She was better able to manage her son's illness and discomfort.
As the month went by, he started to recover. So his illness started to go away, and his inside started to heal. And as he was getting better, I was getting better. You should not ignore it, and that you need a good support system, even if it's just your husband or your mom or your mother-in-law or a friend. Don't be afraid to address it, and take advantage of the resources out there.